We must read and understand the story of Esther in the Bible with wisdom and understanding. I'm going to put the story and the character of Esther into context for you. The Bible contains examples of some Jews who stuck to Mosaic laws even if it cost them their lives, while Esther contains examples of the opposite. And although Esther did risk her life at the end, it was not because she was sinless or because she flawlessly kept the Mosaic law of the time. There is little about Esther that could be considered morally upright according to the standards of the Mosaic law. I certainly wouldn't want my daughter to follow in the footsteps of Esther, but I would want my daughter to embrace the God of Esther, who uses people who are morally unusable to accomplish his plan. And that's the point of the story of Esther. In fact, that is the point of most stories in the Bible. God uses inadequate people. What we must remember when we read the Bible is that our focus should always be on God, and that God is the main character in the Bible and not the people. We should not look at this Jewish Queen Esther as the hero of the story, or as an example of what it is to be a morally upright and good person. Esther had her shortcomings, just as all people do. The Bible is not about God responding to our goodness, but about God using sinful and messed up people to accomplish his will on earth, despite our moral lack. And the same is true of Esther. The book of Esther is not about a morally upright Jewish girl whom God used because she had no flaws and was perfectly righteous. No, it's about God using someone in spite of her flaws. Let's look at Esther's flaws. Esther, as a Jewish woman, as far as we know, did not resist taking part in a pagan king's beauty contest in his harem. She also spent the night with him before they were married, breaking God's law. Now, obviously, the Bible doesn't elaborate on what exactly went on that night, but I'm pretty sure they weren't only chatting the night away. No ungodly, pagan, lustful king who ordered so many ladies to get beautified before they come to him would only have them come over for a chat. Then, after spending the night with the king, Esther marries him, an ungodly pagan king. And again she is in violation of the Mosaic law. Now you may say that she didn't have a choice because she would have been killed if she resisted. Yes, this may be true, but God expects obedience from his people, even if it costs you your life. Daniel and his 3 friends also lived under the rules and orders of a pagan king, and they also would have been killed if they resisted the king's demands. Yet they resisted all the pagan sinful demands, even though it cost them their lives. Yes, we know that God rescued them, but they did not know that beforehand. But God uses us no matter if we get it right or not. We have a God who is wise and powerful and gracious, that our sin will not prevent him from using us and fulfilling his plan and purpose in the earth. Just a few examples of disobedient and sinful people used in the Old Testament to fulfill his plans were Adam, Abram, Jacob, Judah, David, Solomon, Lot, Jonah. And in the New Testament, we can look at Matthew, Paul, Peter, the woman at the well, and so forth. The lesson in the book of Esther is that despite our sin or our failures in the past, God desires to use us. God delights in you because you are human and not because you are doing everything perfectly right. God does not only love you, but he finds you to be special, beautiful, precious, and a perfect candidate to do his work. There is nothing you have done that disqualifies you from being used by God in His kingdom in the earth. God loves you and He delights in you, in spite of your failures. If we submit ourselves to God, we will be used by God.